Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump, I won't forget. Buy high, die hodling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the wheel or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shitty clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die hodling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. FOMO's gone, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Time in hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die hodling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rights. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. But I'll reload, I play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Woke up late, charts on fire.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Hope you're having a great day today so far. Pretty consistent dropping ever since we lost this momentum around 10 p.m. last night. How you guys doing? Coma, how you doing, man? Alex, what's up? Hope you're having a good day today. Right now, I'm waiting on a potential test of this zone at 107,850, where I'll be preparing for an opposing change of character to help establish some support here. This level came from, we zoom out, we've got the previous macro valley area high. This valley area was about 54 days old before we used it as support, and then launched our way up to our previous range up here. And we got liquidity resting right below this box zone. So we could deviate a little bit below it and scoop up that liquidity and prepare for a bounce off this valley area high in hopes that we stay range bound between 124,500 and this potential low here. We were talking about the possibility, like after losing this momentum, us being range bound between here and all the way over here for a little bit, and this potentially being the floor. So we have this like big demand zone here that we bounced off of already, but now we're kind of get underneath it to grab the liquidity below it to hopefully get that initial bounce as well. But if we lose this spot, we do have quite a bit of confidence down here to prepare for our next little zone, which is at around 105,000 or 104,200 basically. We have that an hourly order block here. We have the 200-day EMA. We have a previous point of control here. And we also have, depending on how long it takes for us to get down there, we also have the broad daily momentum here that's been holding us up since like 16K. So this is a really incredibly important level. Now this could be adjusted a little tiny bit. This is a daily level, so when we come down to test it, you can't treat this line like it's law. You got to look for structural evidence of support and not just assume support. How you guys doing? Got Sam in the house. What's up, man? Constantine, Jedi. Kyle, I have a question. I went through the part of the course about changes of character in a YouTube video, and I saw that some people only think that a change of character are true when you break structure strong, low, or high. Is that true? So yeah, a change of character occurs when you have a strong low or a strong high break. So let's say this is the price action. We have at least 2 candle pullback, higher high, right? This would be the break of structure, right? Assuming we are continuing up from a previous one. So let's give it a little more data here. So break of structure, and when you have that break of structure occur, you create a strong low, and a change of character occurs when that strong low breaks. So it'll be like right here. It's evidence, it's basically a warning sign that we could be having a reversal, right? Not every change of character is equal. If you have a change of character, let's say this is the valley area, and let's say there's like a point of control around here. If we had price action come up and we got it like a change of character here, I would take it a lot more seriously, being at the top of a valley area high. But if we had one like internally to the valley area, it's not one that I would recommend taking action on. It could be a good warning sign telling you that you might need to take some profits if you had one internally inside the valley area, but it's not one that I would normally take action on. So yeah, whatever you are watching sounds like it's correct. You just got to make sure that, yeah, the strong low or strong high is broken in order for you to get the change character reaction. If you're doing it right to the books, then that includes that includes the wick as well. So you want to have the wick broken. By the way, I'm the one with the sugar gliders. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm going to share that. So you're on Fanova's side of the fence. If you go over to, yeah, we're talking in the Hangout section here. But yeah, he's got a pretty cool little setup for his sugar. Like, he's got a better room than I did when I was a kid. But yeah, we got little sugar gliders in the community. It's pretty funny. Yeah, now I want like 500 of these. Thanks, man. I can't show my kids or else. Yeah, it'll be a thing. But it has fur, so I'm probably like extremely allergic to it. Good morning, Three Bros. What's up? Sterling, how you doing, bro? Ben, soul request. Yep, we can do soul. Brandon, how you doing, man? JDR things, pump, please and thanks. Yeah, we can check a look at pump too. Tradefly sent me here. Oh, thanks, Tradefly. I wanted to make sure. Cool. Okay, so let's take a peek. So just a quick overview of what we were talking about here. I'm preparing for a change of character reaction around here. Hopefully dip into here, get that break, change of character reaction, and then I'll be looking for a long. The volume is kind of dreadful, so I'm a little nervous about us actually just breaking right through it. Because like, what if we get acceptance into here with a let's say we get a break of structure and we start getting that continuation, I would be nervous about that performing as acceptance into this valley area. And that's where I'll be anticipating for us to get our next bounce around the 200-day EMA. We have a strong valley area range here. Not very much interest around here. Yeah, so I'll be anticipating a liquidity grab around here, maybe the 200-day EMA catching up to that area, and a bounce around 104,200 to like 105,000 area, which is our next big key area. And like I said before, depending on how long it takes for us to get there, we could also simultaneously retest the daily momentum. So this is a big, big spot too, guys. So if this one fails, then this is a good spot to prepare for longs as well. I was pretty hopeful that after testing this demand zone area here, and we start seeing that evidence of support, we got a really strong bounce off this here area, and we got the inverse head and shoulders performance here. We got the break. We even had like the retest on lower time frames. We came down. Some people jumped in around here. I jumped in around here, and we came up, and then we get our head hit off of this supply concern here in hopes that we'd actually continue further up. We mitigated an entire sell wall of, it wasn't a huge sell wall. It was about like 300 Bitcoin when we got up here. And our last test to it was completely gone. So I was kind of hopeful that we'd see a continuation if we did draw back down to this uptrending momentum and then come up and break right through it. But we failed after hitting our head off the VWAP, got that break of structure, continuation warning, and then we've been following ever since. So this is our next little spot to prepare for a potential strong reversal again. Okay. So let's look at the requests you guys have. The first one was for Solana from Ben. How does Solana do during this drop? We got like this descending head and shoulders kind of vibe. Just gonna zoom out. Okay, so we mitigated these highs. Double topped. Got the 4 hour flip bearish when we broke this low. It's a good example of a change character again. Got a pullback. Higher high, break a structure, came down, higher high. So now we're down at like this local support area. We have a demand zone down here. You can watch in case we fall. Mark this wick level. Oh, my bad. There we go. Delete this one. We got overlapping data, we can delete that. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like we tried to hold support off of this previous value area high for a little bit. We failed. We did manage to get the higher high, but after grabbing historic highs before the past there, we kind of, yeah, ended up getting that double top forming, and then we are almost at the measurable target for that double top already. It's like here, previous value area high. Get the measurable target. Yeah, coming down here. Built a bit of a bear flag. Sorry, right here. Test came down. Got that continuation structure. And now we're just kind of like using the confluence of Bitcoin trying to reach this key level for potential reversal, and Solana coming down to potentially sweep these lows for a return back up. And if we fail to get any reversal, like say in the SFP structure or a change of character, then our next little area of interest is down here at $198.13. Yeah, $198.13. We could refine this. I got all this huge zone marked, but we do have like a lot of interest just in this one spot here. So either SFP off these wicks or an opposing change of character here. That's what I'd be looking for on Solana. And you'd be targeting your supply concerns, right? So we have a structure being built now that's looking a bit like a descending regression trend, descending channel, which is great for longs because they produce a decent amount of, if you visualize the order flow, we tend to have a decent amount of liquidity through here. So when we have that opposing change of character, you can target to the point where it starts to get cold, like right around here, for example. If we get that continuation, then my next concern would be this level right here, where we had that 30-minute order block. So right around here, in confluence with the previous value area high at 208.27, if we do manage to get past this previous barrier, then I would be suggesting this as our next target. So we could tap into that previous low and grab that liquidity from this regression trend from that bounce if we do get it, and then hopes that we get that continuation to here or beyond. Okay, so that's Solana. We have a request to look at Pump. Let's see what we got more going on in the chat here. We've got, they don't shed. Okay, maybe I'll consider getting one then. That's good to know. HRJ, almost bottom or flash crash? Pretty much, man. It's like a make it or break it spot. And when you say flash crash, it's not going to be like the old days. We'll probably just drop down to like 105K. The old days we used to have like 10% candle for flash crash that would happen in like a single hour. But these days, with how much more stable Bitcoin is with all the institutional holding, our version of a flash crash probably going to be like a 2%, 3% kind of drop. Well, it's this one here. This one was a 2% drop. So yeah, like you said, it'll probably feel a bit of a flash crashy kind of vibe if we lose this level. There's not very much holding it. If you look at, like, for example, behavior of like valley areas that you can anticipate flash crash kind of potential is like whenever you see a volume gap in here, or if you see clearance in the order books. Clearance in the order books is going to be like the most evidence that you can get for a flash crash, and you'll get massive fair value gaps from it too. But like these here in valley areas also can warn you of like weak points. So if broken, we fall fast to here kind of thing. And that's pretty much where we are. We're at an area where if broken, we'll likely move fast to our next area of interest. To 105.8 is where I expect for it to slow down, but that's not where I expect for it to stop. It would probably stop for a potential reversal around like 104.7 here, scooping this liquidity, tapping this previous point of control, and getting awfully close to the 200-day EMA. Will probably wick down to it. But yeah, you're right, man. Flash crashy kind of vibes here, but also good potential for a reversal here. So this area kind of has to hold for like a make it or break it moment. Okay, let's see if I can catch you up here. So pump was the next request. We don't have a pump chart, so I just got to pull it up. We'll go to Bybit. Okay, so last time we were looking at pump, we were looking at two scenarios. What was it going on here? We hit our head off of the supply concern, come down. If we broke this level, and then we double topped and came right back down. We built a decent range here. We finally broke momentum. Now we're coming and hitting our head off of, yeah, we're trying to get acceptance to this previous value area. So we delete this now. We can delete these key levels. We could pull a fixed range actually from the start of the supply concern, since it's been mitigated, to the point where we left the valley area here. Get our valley area high marked. Our valley area, our previous valley area high is in line with the active valley area low. Delete that. We can mark our previous valley area low here. Mark our previous point of control here. We can mark our uptrending momentum. You can mark our opposing change of character level. For this time frame, let's mark here. Okay, so if we break through this level here, and we see it act as resistance, we'll likely see a bounce after breaking through this level. We have a point of control that's pretty damn close. And it's, we also have this demand zone here in confluence with the 15-minute order block alongside this. So what I would be preparing for in terms of pathing behavior, if we do break this momentum here, let me just change the color. Easier for you guys to see. There we go. So if we lose this momentum and we break past this, we'll probably see pathing similar to this. Bounce off the order block, come down, hit, get a bounce off this previous point of control if we broke this level. And then we'll have that acceptance into the value area from here. And like with acceptance into the value area, we can actually end up seeing it fall all the way back down to the value area low. So you might see a shift in the dominance of Bitcoin. If that were something like that to occur, like pump is not the only example of like altcoins looking a little bit bearish right now. We had like crazy run up for some assets. Congrats to any CRO holders, I'll tell you that. CRO has been doing extremely well. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so we failed to get proper acceptance into this valley area. We got the double top price action. It's running right above a valley area high where most people would prepare for shorts to begin with. And so if we lose this momentum, if you're not already in an existing trade, there might be an opportunity for you to get on the continuation. And that would be when we break this level and see it act as resistance. And like the reason why I'm anticipating for it to bounce and have it act as resistance instead of just getting a breakout and fall, it's just because the confluence of support here with the previous point of control, lots of interest here, and this local demand zone. So I'd wait for the retest if you're late to entering, and then get in on the break of structure, and then use that strong high as your stop loss guard to hopefully see a follow through all the way down to the value area low, while being mindful of these lows where liquidity could rest and induce a pump, right? Along the way. But that's pump. Looking pretty bearish with that double top forming right now. And we got some fractalization of double tops within it, right? Double top within it here, double top within it here. We had a request to look at SNEC. I haven't looked at SNEC in a little while. I think we have a SNEC chart though. Yeah, we haven't looked at it since August 11th. Let's see what we have. Yeah, we know we were looking bullish before, but just lost its momentum, it looks like, after hitting its head off this previous value area low. I was coaching a whale to sell some of their funds around this value area low as a limit order, so they don't induce a massive crash. But we have formed a descending double top. We broke it. Looks like we retested it in the lower time frames, and now we're starting to come down. Let's see. The measurable target, basically the start of this demand zone here. Let's zoom in on the lower time frames. Yeah, we bear flag rode to retest the neckline in confluence with losing the momentum and using it as resistance as well. We have, yeah, that measurable target for the double top. We have this measurable target for the flag yet to be hit. We're coming in on demand zone. This whole zone here is an area of interest. That crazy wick though. Let's pull a fib from the low to that high. There you got the golden pocket in sync in line with those previous lows here as well. Let's pull from the impulse move. And from the impulse move, we got the golden pocket in line with our current zone. So we'll see if we get a reversal here. This is not an asset that I've only traded this thing once, but they yeah, I'll be looking for support around here. That's at 0.003638. That's where it starts. And we can come down to as low as grabbing liquidity from these lows here. Depending on how valid that wick is, if it's on multiple exchanges where you see this giant crash down here, then most of that liquidity has been mitigated already, and there's likely is less resting way down here instead. So we'll see if we get any structural evidence with an opposing change of character here. If we went straight down from here and we didn't build any consolidative support through here, then this would be an area of interest that would be targeting in that long, like the low, the recent low that was created. If we break beyond that, then we will be looking at this as a supply concern. So you can mark this, send it back, template short, get your horizontal ray out, use a magnet, connect it to the wick. Just mark it as a local resistance just in case. Sometimes you get pretty harsh rejections off those retests. But that's what I'll be looking at for SNEC. Let's go back to Bitcoin, see how it's doing. Looks like it's trying to get that leg down. And we did create the new low. If we get a full body close below that wick, then we're likely just going to fall right down, right into our zone now. A spot you're looking for portfolio. Right now I'm focusing mostly on, I'm creating a whole new print portfolio for the company. But we can look at HBAR. HBAR is on my list for accumulation. So let's take a peek. It's been a while since we looked at HBAR. It looks lots of noise. Here we wanted this key level broken, or if we lost the low, prepare for support around this, basically where this trend line is. We got the support here. If we lost the support, then there's huge amount of liquidity down here at 22 cents. Let's delete this. We also had like an S&P level marked just in case we got one. We might have got one on higher time frames because right now we're looking at the 5 minute. Let's switch over to the 15. Can delete this. Can delete that. And we're close to that liquidity level. If you're not already aware, we talked about it already before, but this level here has got a stupid amount of liquidity for HBAR, just resting in this zone. So if this is used as, this liquidity could be used for large traders, large participants to jump in with a lower amount of slippage, right? So think of this as a tool for entry for big wallets, and we're coming in close on it right now. We grabbed liquidity already from this level. We got my pre-alarm here. That didn't go off for me. That's weird. So our next big level, we have a wick level marked here where this dotted line, it might be tough for you to see, but this little dotted line here, and basically 22.30.06 is our next little wick level to potentially see an SFP off of. But yeah, if we're looking for accumulation on HBAR, like this is a spot where I'll be preparing for a reversal for sure. If you want to make sure you're getting on a position of strength and you're not just DCAing in, wait for that opposing change of character at these levels, and we could see ourselves get a decent ride back up. Now, depending on how much relative weakness HBAR is going to have if Bitcoin loses this level, if we don't hold this level, then HBAR could see a harsh reaction and break right through this and come into our next areas of interest. And for me, I'll be looking at this zone right here. But I'm hoping that this holds because honestly, it's a decent opportunity around here. Get this bounce and then play off this valley area and pull the, update this stuff here. Lost to update on this chart. Delete this. Yeah, so I just adjusted. So if you're seeing these lines here, this is the like an equilibrium pole on your Fibonacci. You want to sync it with your value area high level and your value area low level. And it tells you how much percentage price action has deviated away from the value area. And like the 25% level and the 50% level are two really good levels to prepare for bounces off of. And some people use them as part of their rules. Like I will not enter a long unless there's a 25% deviation away from a value area. Because they tend to give you the best R&R. Because once you get that acceptance into the value area after you have your entry, then your target can extend to the opposite side of the value area, while of course being aware of like the point of control and any supply zones along the way. But yeah, around here, I'll be waiting. Like we're awfully close, just looking for that opposing change of character around here. And then I'll likely be buying HBAR, honestly. I'll buy like $500 worth of HBAR for the new portfolio. And then try to ride it up to 26 cents. Or if we see any like opposing reactions on like a previous point of control or the supply concern that we just built right here, let's see how it'll behave. But initially, you got to prepare for the value area low when we're below it to act as resistance, because during that moment, if it acts as resistance, then it's a confirmation that we could be moving to a previous value area. Or if it's price discovery, it would be moving to a new one or creating a new one. So cross our fingers. We're super close. Just like Bitcoin, really close. What's your thoughts on the bull run? I think that right now we're on an area of, like based on the activity, like the daily change of character that we had, right after getting into a new all-time high, that I believe that we're just going to be consolidating, that this is not the end of the bull market. Like you're probably going to be seeing posts soon from people like saying that this is the end and giving like doom and gloom scenarios. And there are some scenarios you got to take seriously. Like we can come down to like a previous value area that can bring us down to lows, like all the way down to like 100,000 again, like 103,000 or so. But not like, I wouldn't consider this the end of the bull market. This is just another resting period. If we look at like the relative unrealized profits and loss chart, this thing has given us insight into seeing like what's happening in the background. It's a lot of price suppression. And if we look at like the previous price action of Bitcoin, we always tend to get like overheated and we have this massive crash, right? We never really consolidate longer than 30 days in any of the previous cycles, like never. Whenever we have a bull run, we pretty much go straight up, other than like a max potential of like 30-day consolidations. But now we're having consolidations that last like fucking forever. Like one from March to September or October area, and then the other one from December, November-ish to April. And now I was anticipating us to potentially range. I'm kind of hopeful that we range between 125 and the 107 level, but it's not up to me, of course. Like we could come down further. I just think that trading Bitcoin, if we stayed within this range, would be far more predictable if we just stayed within this area here. So we'll see what it gives us, of course. But we have a pretty decent reset going on right now on the RPL chart. Like people are selling, mostly retail, of course, but people are selling, and then they're getting bought up immediately from institutions. It's nuts. So a lot of these drops are institutionally created. Like they're creating suppression by building sell walls, but it's all these drops are mostly retail being shaken out. At least that's what the on-chain data is telling us. Like that's all the evidence that we're getting on-chain. Like we're used to be afraid of what the miners did, but now it's about using the data from outflows and inflows from ETF providers. Because if you look at what the miners are doing, they just been giving up all their supply, selling it peer-to-peer instead of selling it on exchange. Like the last big significant event where we saw miners sell quite a bit was around July 2024, around this area here. Yeah, okay, June. We had a decent sell-off from miners moving their funds onto exchanges and selling. But most of this is if you guys aren't familiar with this chart, it's the supply in miner addresses. And we use it as a tool. We used to be able to use it as a tool to tell us when a bear market might occur, because they're the ones that usually lead a lot of drops, right? And it's at the same time when we see the chart, the RPL chart in the overheated zone, and we start seeing them start to sell off. And then we just wait for that daily change of character, and then we got our top in with that. But this time around, yeah, miners have been transferring their funds to ETF providers, selling to them at a premium instead of selling to exchanges. So it's pretty intense. But yeah, what else do you guys want to look at? Constantine wants to look at Chainlink. Let's take a peek. So, yeah, Chainlink had that crazy lift-off event recently. I got a limit sell order over here for about 50% of my new bag. So right now, let's update this poll from here to here. Nothing's changed. A slight change in the value high. Okay. Delete this. Yeah, so we're coming down at this demand zone right now for Chainlink. So like, yeah, similar to a lot of the other stuff. We're on the edge, getting really close to like demand zones. We have our local range low here where we can sweep up the newly added liquidity. Right now, it looks like it's almost like we could be building like a Wyckoff model here, but we'll see if we get like 3 drives with another test, or if we're going to bounce now, give us that third tap, and maybe we'll come around up and undercut this level. But I would feel a little more comfortable if we came down lower. You got that opposing change of character here for longs. So I'll be looking for longs around 22.90 again on Chainlink. This kind of reaction, honestly, you see that break a structure, new strong high, change of character. If you get that pullback, even better. But once you get that change of character, you can prepare for the run up to the valley area low. In this case here, we've got, yeah, it could build that break a structure. We just need a candle close below this wick and continue down. Watch this high for a break. We have a 15-minute order block. We'll be watching above the wick here for potential exit liquidity or opposing SFP. But ultimately, I'll be targeting the valley area low in hopes for acceptance within the valley area for a target extension. Yeah, I'll let you know if I enter this. This one might be one I enter, honestly. Chainlink's looking good. HBAR too. HBAR and Chainlink look pretty transparent for entries. Bitcoin alongside it. But hopefully they're all working together and not, you don't see some weird rotation of funds where one side does well and the other side does not. So using like Bitcoin dominance would be helpful for that. So if you have Bitcoin dominance looking weak, then the alts are going to outperform Bitcoin during that moment. Runway thinks we tanked to 100K, yet to be tested. Rough. Do you think SNEC will hit an all-time high? I think it's definitely possible, yeah, for SNEC to hit an all-time high. It wasn't very far away before we lost this momentum. I still think it's definitely possible for us to come up there. I think that's the measurable base target for this descending channel is up here. What doesn't mean it'll be hit. You know, we need that acceptance into the value area in order for us to get that target extension to the value area high in hopes for us to get to that area. But yeah, right now we're kind of falling down to our next area of interest. But yeah, I think it's definitely possible. Kyle, can you go over our last lost trade, please? What we did wrong there? Yeah, sure, we can go over that. So the last trade that we entered was here, or the last one I signaled here. So I went down to the 15-minute time frame. This was like a late entry for anyone who pretty much didn't get in on this break here. This break was on like a Tuesday around 2 o'clock-ish. When we had that break there, that kind of was a key level where a large amount of buy-side liquidity was resting, and we were targeting this area. I missed it, so I just drew the pathing for everybody that we're likely going to hit our head here and come down. And we hit our head there, came down, and we ended up building a right shoulder to like an inverse head and shoulders pattern, like this, showing us evidence of accumulation. And we got that break of this downtrending momentum. We retested it, the pullback, and we got the higher high, and we started closing above this key level here. And I felt like I was definitely the liquidity during that moment. There was an opportunity here to be patient, though. If you're so close to supply, this is what went wrong with the trade, honestly. We're so close to local supply, like right here. What we should have done, or what I should have done when I gave that signal, is I should have waited to see that area get like mitigated and then came down, and then used this low to that newly formed high for a fib pull to find it a level to get in, since we already had our confirmation, right? So if we box a zone between the golden pocket and the 786, this could have been a zone of interest for us to prepare for an entry right here. So once we tapped into this level, you look for an opposing change of character right here, which we got on this candle, and they can use this as your stop loss guard here, or the left shoulders as your stop loss guard as well. Or sorry, the right shoulder as your stop loss guard. So that could have been the way we could have improved on that trade. It's just being a little more patient, not jumping in right into the supply concern in hopes that we would just break right through it, and just being a little more patient and waiting for the retracement and entering in on a better position of strength with better R&R as well. And that way we would have more room to breathe to prepare for an exit plan when this didn't work out, right? So when you got that opposing change of character against us during this moment right here, we could have taken at least some off the table, right? In hopes that this would be honored as support and we continue to go back up. For example, maybe there's a fib level there as well that you could prepare for an entry on. No, didn't tap into it until here. But yeah, that would have been a moment where you could take some off the table and likely would have, you would definitely would have gained some profits even if you only closed 50%. Because at that point, let's get our long position tool out. So you entered here, stop loss guard here. You could have gotten out during the sell wall and got your 1 to 2.2. You could have taken some off the table at the 1 to 1.43 when we had that opposing reaction. And if the rest of it got stopped out, you still would have came out profitable by a factor of 0.43 minus fees. But yeah, that's how we could have improved that setup for sure. So next time around, if I see us in a scenario like this, where like we see that inverse head and shoulders and it seems like the stars are aligning for a long, then I'll just sit on my hands and just wait to see how we react to the supply concern, despite the amount of confluences that we have, right? That could be one rule that we can add to our signals, where basically if we are in a supply zone, despite what everything else says, even with the trend-based rules being met, just be patient for a better entry when all those rules are met. And just pulling a fib out, pulling from the low to the newly created high. And you have that evidence of the high once you have that opposing change of character right here, right? Because this was our strong low. And then, yeah, pull the fib during that moment and we're set. That's definitely how we could have improved that trade for sure. I definitely took note of it too. And there's some people that caught that too, where they like they saw they wanted to jump in the long. So they're the ones. I saw some other people like learning from mistakes like that already, where they were just waiting for the fib retracement and they got it around there. I think Toe Rogan was one of the members that did that. What else you got? Can you check LDO? What are my fib settings? Fib settings are simple. I got two different forms of fibs. You can screenshot them. Probably the best thing to do. So just, yeah, get your screenshot ready. You got 382, 618, 786, 1618 is a stressor level. 2, 618 stressor level. 1, 0.65. 0.50. But you can decide, like they're all helpful data points, but you can decide as a trader which ones you would actually want to respect and use solely. Like there's tons of traders that will just get rid of this, 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 and this, and then only use that as a box zone, right? I also got equilibrium fibs. Right here, this will help you find deviation points for valley areas or ranges. You got to change the settings around a bit for that. You got to make sure that your levels are set to percentages. They're all technically based on percentages, but it just displays it better for you that way. I hope that helps you out, man. Reach out to me in Discord if you need any help with that. Pyth for 3 bros. Okay, cool. We can look at Pyth as well. Pyth was on a tear yesterday. Let's look at LDO first. Appreciate the tip, by the way, Costine. LDO, go to Binance. Oh, my bad. Let's zoom out. Okay, we had this key level marked. We hit our head off this previous value area low and the downtrending momentum. This thing did not want to run very far. Let's go to the daily. Let me delete this now. We'll keep this on the chart, but let's not make it so freaking thick here. There we go. Just a key level that we use a lot as support and resistance. And we broke right through it for this double bottom. This range, this value area range, this is the daily time frame, so it's a significant level. It's about 958 days. So when we hit our head off the value area low, we're hitting off of almost 1,000-day value area. So it makes sense for the first time around to be a struggle. But what you want to see is that acceptance with a break of structure, higher high, and you have that much higher probability of us reaching the value area high from there. Let's grab our momentum here. So we have daily momentum. Let's zoom in on the 4 hour. Structurally, there's not very much on the 4 hour. So we have some weak levels beneath us. All right, so here, it's a significant area. We're coming in on the 50-day EMA right here and tapping into like this little demand zone here where we had this impulse move up, pull back, another move up like this. So we do have demand here that we're kind of testing alongside the 50-day. If we lose this level, then our next level is alongside the 200-day EMA and the uptrending daily momentum. We hit the mark here as a potential key level. Right now it's technically here, so let's do that for now until we get that lower low. Once we get that lower low, then our change of character level will shift from here to here where this wick is. So we have that, yep, uptrending. So a lot more confluence is at the lower level here with the 200-day hourly order block, uptrending momentum. So we prepare for a bullish reaction around here. We do have some confluences here though that could also do a bounce. So it all kind of depends on what Bitcoin does, in my opinion, because Bitcoin has a huge amount of influence over Ethereum with its pairing liquidity, and Ethereum has a lot of, like a ton of pairing liquidity with LDO. So we have to see that chain reaction, BTC to ETH, ETH to LDO. If Bitcoin loses its local support level at 107,850, then we'd be coming down to this level here, where basically I'm anticipating 105K on Bitcoin to be in line with this level for LDO if we got that continuation. But I'm hopeful that we hold here. Yeah, right now our key level is here, but yeah, like I said before, we get that lower low, bounce out the 50-day, get that change of character reaction. We can start coming up again from there. We have, I'd pull a fib on, not a fib, a fixed range from here to here. If you get that long, then you got to watch the valley area low and confluence with the supply concern and point of control. There we go. Control, click, drag. So my pathing will look a little bit like this. Hopefully something like this. If not, if we lose 50, then we're looking around here. But yeah, you gotta wait for that change of character. Okay. Coma saying you saw the 300 Bitcoin buy wall. We wicked into it and then went up. It could be a single actor then, where they got some of their partial order filled and then they rotated their order up higher, anticipating that their order is strong enough to create ascending support. Let's take a look at the order books. So we go back. You said a buy wall though. Come on. There we go. Oh, well, my alarms just went off. Okay, I set an alarm for the macro value high when we tapped into that. Because I want, yeah, setting like alarms near key levels to prepare yourself for the moves is really, really helpful. So these are like, I call them pre-alarms, where they just notify you that you might be getting ready for a trade soon. Bitcoin, what is that exchange? Yeah, we got a decent wall here. 107,980 for 500 Bitcoin. 107,990. Coordinates 107,990. So we're going through it now. Yeah, that buy wall is just mitigated. So it's someone just bought 500 Bitcoin just now with the limit order on this white line. Sweep these lows. That was a quick mitigation of a buy wall. Let's see if we can hold it up here. This could be our double bottom, occurring off of the high side of the demand zone rather than dipping within it. Check out spot, put the buy walk on now. Yeah, spot. Still got some buy walls. People asking for 107.5, 107.6. The spot has a bigger impact over the price action. At least in the macro environment. See you, Dutchy. Thanks for jumping in, man. Yeah, it's expecting an inverse head and shoulders, so barriers were expected. Oh, descending. Yeah, descending. Yeah. All right, guys. Jo wants to look at Pyth. We're waiting on price action to develop on the Bitcoin side. We can delete this. That was cool to see, but let's go to Pyth. I don't think we have a Pyth chart. No. Okay. Binance. Jeez. That order flow. Okay, so Pyth got above the 200-day EMA. The wild pump. What is that? That is from this candle alone. It doubled its market cap in one candle, one daily candle. So that's unsustainable. Just saying. Could test these previous highs here. Let's go with the lower time frames because we definitely saw some evidence of. So this is like textbook what I prepare for when we're about to establish a range, which is kind of helpful for you guys to watch. So we have like the demand zone here, right? So whenever you see an impulse move up, where's my, what is going on with my brain today? Anyways, yeah. If you see an impulse move up, build bit of a pullback, structural base, right? Another impulse move up. These are demand zones. And when you have an opposing change of character or a double top forming, we come into that demand zone, establishing a potential support range floor, right? And this would be established as the high of the range. So if we get that opposing change of character reaction here, I'd recommend looking at the 15-minute time frame for Pyth. Then you'd start trading this as if it's a new range that just got established during this moment once you have that opposing change of character. And target the highs and then prepare for the highest active resistance, right? Assume for it to range, then for it to trend. If we do get the higher high, you'd rather be getting in at these lows rather than trying to get in on the break of the highs, right? So yeah, try to prepare for a long round here in hopes for a higher high break for a continuation, seeing the 200-day EMA act as support. Otherwise, just prepare for it to likely just induce a range here. The more Pyth ranges right now, the healthier it will be, because when you have a big blast off move like this, you're inevitably going to have sellers react to a doubling of a market cap and get out. So there's evidence of that right here. But we want to see the buyers be strong enough to stabilize it after that. Because if we dip back down below the 200-day, it'll likely give us an equal, like a crash almost equal to the pump, right? We'll just have a really fast drop right back down to the 50-day. So cross our fingers that we see that opposing change of character here on the 15-minute or higher. If we instead get this, then we'll fall right back down to like 1250. Yeah. All right, cool. And then once you have that opposing change of character, you can also pull a fixed range from this point to that point, the point where we get the change of character. Right now, the value area is too young. Okay. I think we got about 10 different fib tool templates. Yeah, tons of different fib tool templates. Okay. Thanks, Sterling. Yeah, if you guys want to learn more about indicators, trading, we have a 30-day course to help you guys become profitable traders. All right, what else do you guys want to look at? So we went through Pyth, we went through Link, went through Snack, HBAR, Solana, Bitcoin. Let's go back here. Bitcoin's getting that bounce. Gotta go. See you, buddy. AVAX. Yeah, let's take a look at AVAX. we've got an AVAX chart. Last time we looked at it was on the 21st. Looks like it's coming down too. So last time we're looking at AVAX was for longs, right? Around the valley area low, where we had that double bottom reaction. We had a key level here marked. We had a key level here marked. And we had supply concerns here and here. We blasted right through this one like it wasn't even there. We had a little bit of turbulence here at this supply concern. And then we ended up getting to the valley area high and deviated a little bit above it though. So exceeded past where we expected for us to hit our heads. Grabbed all the liquidity from above these local highs. So we delete this. It's not helpful anymore. We can adapt the changes of these boxes to the new levels. I'll fix that in a second. I can pull this fixed range. Starting to see a squeeze in the valley area. When you see compression in the valley area, then there's a chance of a squeeze occurring in the price action as well. It's basically telling us that 70% of the volume is getting into a tighter range. So we're getting that crunch in the price action as well. We have, zoom out here. So we have this more rod momentum here, kind of breaking through it now. Got some liquidity, got a liquidity line right here. It's basically a liquidity. If you think about the order flow, there's lots of likely some funds floating around here in the form of liquidations and stop losses. But ultimately, if you're looking for the good long, maybe around 22.70, get this low here swept. Clone. I'll just take the high and the lower side one here. See if we get that legacy SFP off of it. Clone. There we go. Yeah, so for AVAX, I'm anticipating for it to keep creeping its way down a bit. But just like Bitcoin being close to a key level, AVAX is close to this liquidity zone. That can induce a pump as well. AVAX might have some relative weakness from that pump though. We might see it do a slower climb up because its positioning is just like so close to local resistance that it feels like we could get that bounce, but it'll do it slowly and then we're likely hit our head off of this local supply concern and this POC and then continue our way down to the previous value area low. But we'll see what happens. We'll get this level here marked properly. Pull this up. Same with this level. Can mark those wicks. So either SFP, these wicks here, or we deviate a little lower, hopefully grab liquidity from 22.19 and a reverse around here. Everything's really close to a significant level, moving tightly alongside Bitcoin. Karma, charting is boring. Got any news? Yes. So we had a little bit issues with APIs for connecting our website, our new website up. We're just adjusting the DNS records, but I can give you guys a look at what the new website looks like. You're gonna catch the domain, but it's okay, not a big deal. One sec, you guys. So I'll show you the before first. There we go. We submitted the application form for CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap now that we met all the requirements to get listed. So this is the previous website, right? Sorry if it's being a little laggy. But this is the previous website. Showed the reflection rewards that were casted to everybody after every transaction. It's a really basic website. Brought you to the white paper here, the partners that we had, the Discord. You could swap on here as well. But now, once this thing wants to load, this is the new website. It's a lot more dynamic. It changes. It updates live feeds based on the API connection to BSC scan. So I'll show you the live feed of how many has been burned so far. I'll show you the live feed of the current supply and our goal to get to 2 million in the supply. How many holders, the volume, the tokenomics, the smart contract details, the distribution of the funds. It was a fair launch, so our partnerships that we're building right now, our new roadmap. You can check it out through here. What we're doing right now, our goals, how many trees we're trying to plant, how much water we're trying to get clean, where you can buy it, all that fun stuff. So this is all of our, lots of changes to the website. Hope you guys like it. But yeah. And with that will come with more marketing plans for, now that we got CoinMarketCap getting up there, we'll have access to much better APIs to build much cooler tools for you guys too. Did we look at LDO? Yes, we did. Yep. Yeah. Bitcoin's getting that double bottom structure. So let's see if we get that break. When we swept this low here, we basically put this level under attack. So if we get this break, you can look for a pullback just prior or just after for the retest and higher high and a potential entry off of that. And my computer is going crazy right now. You mean the goal is to get to 2 million supply? It is coded to get to 2 million in supply, yeah. So basically, right now it's like, its launch supply was 7 million, right? And its burning system is going to keep on burning until it gets to 2 million. Now that could take a very, very long time. But the more volume we get, the more transactions that occur, the faster this occurs. So it's built for long-term growth. So its floor value is going to constantly increase. Kind of like Bitcoin in a sense. But if we were to give Bitcoin Karma's tokenomics, Bitcoin would be worth a hell of a lot more money today. I'll tell you that. But so I'm stuck in an XRP long from $2.95. Oh man, let's take a look. XRP. So you're saying you're stuck. You must not have a stop loss in place. $2.95. Okay, we're at 282. Yeah, last time we were talking about XRP was the bear scenario coming down from 293. We had that bear flag. And we bounced off the uptrending momentum. And we delete this. This was for the recent long. This was for the recent short. Well, the good news is, I know you're stuck and it sucks. It's quite a bit of ways to go before getting back to your entry. Your entry right now is in a supply concern. So where you're entered at break even is where people are going to prepare to exit if we return to that area. Let's go. Back here. We do have a couple levels here. I'm not sure what your situation is, if you're used leverage or not, or if it's just a spot buy. If it's a spot buy, you're good. You'll be fine. If you're using a leverage position and are not using a stop loss, we have two levels that we could get a recovery off of. We're technically at one now. But these are your next two little levels where you prepare for a sweep and a potential bounce up. Right now, this is our key level that we need to have broken. But yeah, what I'll be really cautious about is like trying to stay married to the trade. Like if we come up and we break this, then awesome, we could come up all the way up to here. We do have supply concern right in our face, unfortunately, that could induce a reversal. And maybe that reversal will look something like this to retest the previous high and form a potential right shoulder to bring us back up there, because that would give us the measurable target of getting back up there, right? So there's still hope for you. Just, you got to make it a really good practice, man, to have an invalidation point with your trades. Like learn about invalidation points through market structure. Like where's the strong lows? Where's the strong highs? And then use them as stop loss guards so you don't get caught in like scary situations like this. But yeah, we could either sweep this low and get a bounce and come up, or we can get that change of character right now. Like Bitcoin's trying to fight for one right now, right? And that could help induce a move up. And hopefully it makes its way up to your entry from there. But from there, man, I would recommend like closing your position at least at the break-even point and look for a new, safer opportunity. And sorry going for that. I know the emotions that go through holding a trade a little bit too long. All right, guys, let's see. I do got to head out. I just want to see if I can help someone else here. Everyone predicting this September crash, but everything else does the opposite. Yeah. Well, August historically it leads into a fall. It leads into a pump. We usually have this pump in August. If we go over to like CoinGlass today, and then September corrects it through like the seasonality patterns that we're used to seeing, right? So if we go to coinglass.com/today, I'll let that load. can delete some of my tabs here. That's probably what's going on. Thanks a ton. No problem, man. Yeah, I'll cross the fingers for you. It looks good on Bitcoin side right now. The reaction that we're getting on Bitcoin side, and XRP does tend to follow Bitcoin quite a bit. Like XRP does have its relative strength moments, but when it has relative weakness, it usually just ranges, right? Lately, that's all it does when it has relative weakness. Like what I mean by that is like when Bitcoin's pumping and then XRP does nothing. That's relative weakness, right? But when Bitcoin's pumping, XRP usually pumps with it. So it's one kind of good thing in your scenario there that might help you out. Sorry how long this is taking to load, guys. But yeah, so August, like usually we have like a bit of a pump, and then our September like corrects it. We have this. That's why we call it like Rectember. Like the last part of August usually has like a bit of a pump period. This time around, like the past 2 times actually, 3 times. If you look at August, we've had these corrections, and we're in one right now, and positioning itself near the end of the month to allow September to more statistically likely to begin bullish. So we'll see if it begins bullish again this time around, because that's what it kind of positioned to be right now. So the next 30 days could be a slow moving pump, and then we can prepare for October and see what kind of setup we get for that. Like October is usually the one that everybody loves. Insane moves. And when it's bearish, it's not usually that bearish. When it's bullish, it's usually pretty darn bullish. Do I scalp? Oh yeah, I scalp sometimes, yeah. I usually trade ranges, so I'll do swing trade setups with macro ranges, and then I'll do internal lower time. I usually trade ranges. Sometimes I'll catch the odd trend trade too, if they're really transparent, or if we're setting or positioning ourselves at the bottom of a macro valley area before its break. Like we had a really, really good one on Ethereum, but this could be a good preparation for a trend setup too. Like where we are, if we make this bounce, you could see some strong continuations. But there's a lot of barriers along the way up. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I gotta head out. I hope to help you out. Reach out to me in the Discord if you need help with anything. We do have the all-time high promo still going on for a discount on both the annual plan and the monthly plan. I believe it was 50% off for the monthly and 20% off for the annual, which stacks onto the already additional 20% plan. I did get you guys discounts for Flux charts. I know some of you guys are getting interested in using Flux charts. I have basically you just type in invest a share when you're going to Flux charts, and you got yourself a 15% off discount. And I had the link for you guys in the description. But yeah, any probable entry now? Right now, no. So we are trying to get that break of this neckline for this double bottom. If you do get that break, you could use this low as your stop loss guard, but we might get a pullback. So once you have like a low time frame, let's say like a 3-minute posing change of character around this area, you can then begin to pull a fib from here to that high, and then that will give you a level to prepare for a potential entry before continuing our way up. And that way you can use this as your stop loss guard down here but have a much better entry rather than entering up here. Because when you have this kind of structure, they tend to give you really steep stop loss guards, right here. It's pretty steep. So yeah, hopefully break that level, then get that pullback, enter in on the pullback, watch out for the local high in hopes for that break of structure continuation, and then you're set. But the sweep candle here was technically also an entry on this candle. When I swept these lows and closed within the body range, you can target the top of the range as a front run to that potential double bottom break. If you don't get that neckline break, then you just sit on your hands and you wait, right? Because we could come back down, sweep this low again, get an SFP, and you can get yourself in on the SFP instead. The SFP would give you a much better R&R than the double bottom playout scenario. All right. See you after the weekend. Yeah, see you, Coma. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I got a lot done this week on the house stuff, and I'd like to share it with you guys. Yeah, so I'll share that with you guys on Monday. And I got a really cool template written out for YouTube videos for you guys too. So I'll be able to give you guys like 15-minute YouTube video posts to help you get started on your day for trading. And I'm excited to show you. All right, guys, you have a great day. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sharing. We're starting to grow. We're getting close to that 7,000 subscriber target. And when we get there, I got a gift for you guys. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Monday.